Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shawn Smith. I'm the program staff analyst here at the Department of Navy Office of Small Business Program. Welcome you here today to the Women-Owned Small Business webinar. I'd like to direct you to our website at www.secnav.navy.mil/small business, where you can find a wealth of information, including our DAWN OSBP operations plan, locate your small business professional, and find information on how to do business with DAWN, including our long-range acquisition forecast. To learn more about upcoming events, I encourage you to connect with us on social media. Facebook at facebook.com/Navy OSBP, Twitter.com/Dawn_OSBP, LinkedIn, you search Dawn OSBP, and YouTube, search Dawn OSBP. We have upcoming series of webinars that will be coming up. On December the 3rd, we have the Army Small Business Programs webinar. And on December the 8th, we have the Mentor Protege Overview webinar. Feel free to register to attend those events. Our speaker for today, Ms. Alisa Sheard, is the Program Manager of the SBA Women-Owned Small Business Programs. She has been at SBA for over 7 years, and she has over 15 years of government service. She's a former supervisor in the SBA 8A program in their district office. She'll be here to provide you with a wealth of information. If you have any questions, at the top of the screen, there's a Q&A button. Please push that button and post your question in that section, and we'll be sure to get to you to answer it. If we can't answer today, we will be posting this on our website, and we will address those questions there. Thank you. Ms. Sheard?
Awesome. Let me make sure I am unmuted and make sure I am sharing with everyone the presentation for today. All right, great. So I think we're all set. Again, hello everyone, and thank you to the Department of Navy's Office of Small Business Programs for inviting me to speak today. I'll be talking with you all about the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program. Again, my name is Alisa Sheard. I am one of the program managers for this program. My area of responsibilities is managing the program operations for initial and continuing eligibility for our new certification process. So I manage a team of analysts that are reviewing applications, looking at and making sure our applicants fulfill our criteria, as well as the improvements to our technical solution that we are now putting in use. So I'll get started in today's presentation. I don't have any issues with questions as we are moving through. So feel free to post your questions in the chat area, and I will have that available to answer questions that you guys are putting forth. And any questions that I can't get to during the presentation, I'll try to answer at the end. Or if I'm unable to answer, I will ensure that we can try to follow up and get responses back to you. I will be sharing the slide deck with our point of contacts here at Department of Navy's Office of Small Business Programs, and they will disseminate it accordingly. All right, so let's get started. So as many of you know, SBA sets the prime contracting goals for federal agencies. And we set those targets for women-owned small businesses usage at 5%. This is prime contracting dollars. Small disadvantaged business is 5%, hub zone is 3%, and service disabled veteran-owned small businesses are 3%. These different socioeconomic categories are what SBA works to strive to encourage maximum practical usage of small businesses in federal contracting. The WOSB Federal Contracting Program, which I represent today, is a small portion, is just a portion of the woman-owned small business goal. So there's the prime contracting goal of 5%. And this particular program is designated as a portion of that 5%. And I'll detail a little more about what that means, because this program is about the NAICS codes and the industries that women-owned small businesses are underrepresented. So I want to make sure that we start off making sure understanding the scope and the focus of the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program. So in FY19, this was what was reporting. We do need to update with what FY20 numbers reflected. We hit a historic high. And again, this is prime contracting dollars. This is what the federal government as a whole awarded to women-owned small businesses in prime contract awards. So these women-owned small businesses have self-designated themselves as their women-owned businesses, and these contracts were awarded to them for various services. Among those agencies that achieved the highest, and I'm always proud to acknowledge the SBA achieved 24.2% of using women-owned small businesses for prime contracting opportunities. Nuclear Regulatory Commission is up next in line. OPM, Department of Interior, and Department of Housing and Urban Development all were top 5 agencies that used women-owned small businesses in FY19. So today, what I wanted to specifically talk to you about is the changes that have happened and occurred with the certification process. Previously, the program allowed for firms to self-designate. So there's those that want to participate in this program, they were allowed to self-designate as a woman-owned small business and declare that they were participating in this program, and they uploaded documents in what we call now our legacy system. We had a system called certified.sba.gov. That is our legacy system for the WOSB program. We are no longer using that system for the WOSB program. And so in that system, that's where firms were using before. Then in May of this year, we outlined and published in the Federal Register the new certification process. And this is to apply what Congress mandated to SBA in the National Defense Authorization Act of 2015. SBA rolled out implementation of the new certification process, how that process was going to work, and all of the different components a firm could expect when participating now in the new formal certification process. And then on July 15th, we rolled out our new platform to allow for those interested in participating to begin submitting applications, and we began the initial processing of applications. That website is beta.certify.sba.gov. So I want to make sure we know the difference here, that it's beta.certify.sba.gov, and there's no need for a www on the front of that. It is just beta.certify when you're typing it into your URL box. And firms are then able to begin completing applications, submitting documents to SBA, and this includes those that were participants or using a third-party certifier. In order to upload their certificates, they still would need to create an account and profile with beta.certify. And then on October 15th, we began issuing decisions, rendering approvals or declines depending on what was submitted to SBA on those that have applied for the program. We are currently well over 300 firms that we have granted a decision on. And we expect to exceed well over 500 before the end of the month, if not more. So as of October 15th, again, we began issuing decisions. We outlined the new process. It's free, no cost for you all to use the beta.certify website. We do still allow for third-party certificates to be uploaded, but using a third-party certifier is at a cost, but you are not required to use a third-party certifier. Again, we're just repeating, the self-certification process is no longer available on certified.sba.gov because we have rolled out the new system and new formal process on beta.certified.sba.gov. All right. So some resources for you. So those that have not applied or thinking about applying or considering more and learning more about the program, we have a website at sba.gov/WOSB-ready. Or if you want to ask questions with a specific person, a counselor or an SBA representative, we have SBA regional offices and our district offices across all 50 states. And we also have our added resource, our arms, I like to call them, our extended imprint on our community is our resource partners. This would be your procurement technical assistance centers, our women's business centers, our small business development centers, as well as SCORE counselors. All of these resources are available to answer questions and to provide any counseling to make sure that you are ready and prepared to begin the certification process and maximize the usage of that certification. We also have an FAQ on our website that can answer general questions about the program as well as the application process. And then we created like a table because we had people that were already self-certified. We had those that used the third-party certifiers. We had also firms that were participants in our 8A program. And so we created a table that would outline what were next steps for you and how the old regulations applied versus what was expected and then what was going to happen with the new regulations. So a couple of other resources are a fact sheet, as well as an infographic that just kind of gives as much awareness and information that you need to know about what steps are expected of me and what steps should you be taking if you're seeking to a certification from SBA for the purposes of this program. So a part of rolling out the new certification process, SBA also wanted to make sure that we ran a branding, kind of an awareness campaign to make sure that firms knew we didn't want you to just seek an application, but we wanted to make sure that you were procurement ready, that you were positioning your firm to really take action once you got your certification granted to you. So we partnered with organizations like Women Impacting Public Policy on their Challenge Her program, which has hosted various virtual events since we are currently in the COVID-19 pandemic state. They've been doing tons of virtual events. Normally they host in-person events across the country, but we've moved to a virtual platform to accommodate and still be able to provide the training available. We are continually expanding those partnerships with our key stakeholders, working with various organizations to encourage firms to not only apply, but be sure that they're procurement ready. So that is our WOSB Ready campaign, and that's what that is all about. So before I jump into the specifics of the certification process and the criteria that's outlined, I see there is one question, and I have no problem going ahead and answering that question. There's one question about you still have not received your approval letter. How can we check the status of your review? We submitted all of your documentation for an EdWOSB certification. So when you're in beta certified, it's going to give you a profile, a dashboard, very similar to what was in our old legacy certified system. We worked to try to create a similar work and feel. There is an area where your application status will be displayed. It will show submitted and the date that it's submitted, if it has completed all the necessary steps, and then it will show in progress. And so what I'll do in just a minute is outline what that process is and what those steps will look like as it moves through our workflow. And just know that we do not give priority or precedent to any third-party certifier or 8A firm. It is a first in, first out workflow. And so that everyone is queued up in the order in that they are received. So again, the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program was established, of course, to increase the usage of women-owned small businesses in underrepresented industries and substantially underrepresented industries. It's to build capacity and grow women-owned small businesses in those industries. There are 444 NAICS codes that have been designated as areas where women-owned small businesses are underrepresented or substantially underrepresented. And those are the industries that the government has made the determination they can set aside procurements as WOSB or EDWOSB. The list of 444 NAICS codes can be found on our website, sba.gov/WOSB Ready. On our WOSB Ready site, there's a link that shows you a list of the approved NAICS codes for the program. And that is really our driver. I just want to make sure that we are all clear in understanding that this program is driven by the NAICS codes in those industries where women aren't experiencing a level playing field. And so we are encouraging the federal agencies to utilize women-owned small businesses for those types of projects, increase the women-owned presence in those industries so that we can see a much more level playing field. And in turn, it also impacts you all's capacity in business growth and scalability. So that is really what the program is looking to achieve, and encouraging and increasing the usage of women-owned small businesses in those industries. Right now, SBA is undergoing a study. Every 5 years, we have are obligated to conduct a study of the NAICS codes that are selected. And we are currently undergoing a study at this time to evaluate the 444 to determine, are these still accurate, or should they be expanded, increased in any way based on the way procurement dollars are being spent over the last few years. So how do you know if this program or if this certification is appropriate for you? My advice is always start with the NAICS codes. Start with going to sba.gov to our WOSB Ready page and reviewing the list of NAICS codes. While you may still have many of these criteria that I'm going to go over, you want to make sure that you're taking the time to submit an application, and there are going to be opportunities ready and available to you because it's in the industry that the government is setting aside for this program. So for those that once you've gotten past that step and you see that, hey, our business provides services in these industries, you want to make sure that, one, you can demonstrate to SBA that you have the managerial experience and present a resume that reflects that. That you will hold the highest officer position, or a woman will hold the highest officer position. A woman has to also have 51% ownership interests in one or more women. So it could be, that could be satisfied by more than one women owner. They have to manage the daily operations of the organization. So the person that holds the highest officer position must also manage the day-to-day operations. And there's no minimum time that a business has to be in existence. We've seen a number of businesses start up here in 2020, which is great given the state that we're in, but we don't put any kind of restriction on when that business has to start. It does have to reflect that you have the experience and the commitment to be able to satisfy this criteria that's outlined here on the slide. So for those that are considering applying for the economic disadvantage status, again, starting with the NAICS codes, the economic disadvantage women-owned set-asides are a smaller pool. They are a smaller set of NAICS codes. So you want to validate, is the projects or opportunities that are available for EDWOSB, are they in the lane that I provide opportunities and services for to the government? Because we are going to ask for a lot of financial documents to validate that you are actually at WOSB. And those documents have to reflect the three things that are outlined here on this slide. That your personal net worth is less than $750,000. That your 3-year average income is $350,000 or less. And that your fair market value of all your assets are $6 million or less. While you may fit this criteria, but you also want to make sure that the NAICS codes that are part of this program are part of the services that you are going to render to the government. Before you start to collect all 3 years of business taxes, 3 years of personal taxes, we're looking at W-2s, we're looking at all of the breakdown of your assets and your liabilities. And it is a lot of information to provide to SBA. So you want to make sure you're getting a return on that effort and time that you're spending submitting all those documents. So also next is just understanding how the woman-owned small business federal contracting set-asides are a little bit different than the way programs such as like our 8A programs are outlined. For most cases for a set-aside, we have to demonstrate as the federal government that the rule of two exists in order for us to set aside contracts. And that is still the case for women-owned small businesses. But what is different is for women-owned or EDW or sole source, you have to be the only source, meaning there are no other women-owned small businesses that are present in that industry that from their market research that can perform those services. And that is where we would evaluate if a sole source is possible. Also thresholds, there are thresholds to the value of the contract. And so for sole source purposes, if you are going to be pursuing that, you also have to look at how much is the contract worth, because we do have thresholds of $4.5 million for services contracts, and also for manufacturing contracts, there's a threshold. So just want to make sure that that is clear as well. The thresholds have to exist. You have to be the only source, sole source, women-owned or EDWSB for a sole source award. And it has to also, the project also has to fall under the appropriate NAICS codes that I've outlined. So again, it comes back to those 444 NAICS codes that have been designated by SBA. So we kind of gone over that. I just need to increase these thresholds. They were recently increased. So again, it's 4.5 and 7 million for these thresholds. So a little bit about what you can do to kind of get ready once you've determined that this is the path that you are ready to seek, that you know that this is what your business is suited for, and that all of the other things align, that you do services in those NAICS codes. There are opportunities that the federal government is setting aside for you to pursue, and that you're ready. So of course, as many of you know that are listening in today, you want to identify who those buyers are. Take a look at who's buying, who's setting aside work in this program, who is utilizing the WOSB set aside designation or the EdWOSB set aside designation. And that gives you a better idea of who are actively what we call friendly, meaning they're encouraged and they're interested in utilizing women-owned small businesses. We also want you to understand their procurement and their buying procedures. What is their fastest way? Are they using the GSA schedule? Are they using a particular GWAC contracting vehicle? You know, what is their preferred methodology of procuring whatever services that you are offering? Of course, always find your niche, stay in your lane. You know, of course, not trying to be a jack of all trades to everyone, but really honing in on what you do and do well. And then, of course, making the contacts through your small business events and just networking and growing your business. So one of the things I always encourage firms to look at when they're trying to build their capacity and grow their company is to consider joint venturing. It is one of the most common ways that firms are now scalable and have enough capacity to really pursue some of these projects and the size of some of the projects that are coming out from the government. And joint venture does not have to be with a large company. It could be 2 smalls, 3 smalls, whatever number of small businesses can joint venture to go after an opportunity together. But we also have, for women-owned small businesses that are participating in our program, or small businesses in general, our All Small Mentor Protege program. And so firms that are looking to maybe work with someone that has a little more experience, has a little more depth in working with the federal government, we always encourage our small business to consider the All Small Mentor Protege program and establishing a relationship first in that program. And then you can joint venture with a large business by using that program. SBA on a regular has trainings on management and technical assistance. Our firms that are designated as economic disadvantaged women-owned small businesses can participate in our 7J training. And right now we have a number of different trainings available for those that are eligible to participate in 7J services. So definitely want to make sure that everyone is aware of the trainings and resources that are currently out and available for you all. So the eligibility process, I just want to go over that really quickly as well, and just kind of spot checking to see if there were any questions of what I've gone over so far. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you are registered properly in SAM.gov. One of the biggest common issues and challenges that we've seen with launching this program is that a lot of firms are not properly registered in SAM.gov. And so I want to make sure that everyone takes a moment, if you haven't already done it this year, to really check your SAM.gov and the information that's present, that's listed for you, because our system is pulling from SAM.gov. It's not manually entered, it is populating from data that's already existing and likely the data that you placed into your profile. So that's key and critical, that you are making sure your SAM profile is up to date and accurately displaying your firm. Then you can initiate and begin logging into beta.certify.sba.gov. We have tied our system for authentication purposes with login.gov. So if you don't already have a login.gov account, you will have to establish one and begin to create a profile in order to use our application process. So on our beta.certify website, there are a number of resources available to help you get ready. There are a checklist. There are a number of questions just to determine eligibility. We have our help desk resource and form available, and then we have our knowledge base that provides training videos, user guides, knowledge articles, just to help you through your application process. On beta.certify, there's a area called Am I Eligible? And this will allow you to just answer some simplistic questions. It's not an application. It's more of which programs at SBA am I suited for? You will answer different questions and it will let you know, hey, 8A might be a suitable program for you. WOSB may also be a program for you as well, or HubZone may be a program that's best suited for you, given that way you responded to the questions that have been presented. So if you have not already done so, if you want to see if other programs maybe work for you, you want to also make sure you visit the Am I Eligible section. Getting prepared is one of the most key things before beginning the application. You want to make sure you have all of the necessary supporting documents ready and available, easy to access, so that you're not slowing yourself down with submitting the application. A number of firms didn't realize, hey, oh, I also need to get this amendment. I need the meeting minutes. I need bylaws that I haven't looked at in a number of years, where, making sure that you have all of those things ready on your computer to upload, because we will ask for those documents. So again, this is just a screenshot showing what you will need to do to get started, and just reiterating the importance of having your SAM profile. So let me back up and just walk through, before we go to the next slide, what is the review process. So applications are coming into SBA, and we have 15 days typically to screen an application and to determine whether or not it's complete. If it is not complete, then we will send in what's called a request for information. And through that RFI, we may request additional documents that we did not see in the case or in the application. And so after we have confirmed that your application is complete and sufficient for moving forward, we will advance you into our processing stage, and where you'll get an email notice from SBA stating that you are now being moved to processing, and SBA has up to 90 days to process that application. We are seeing that we're not well, we're definitely below the 90-day processing timeline, but we are seeing that there are a number of common issues with certain applications that are not getting applicants queued up to the processing stage. So, so starting with that, some of the common issues that we are seeing, and I want to highlight the importance of using and reviewing the user guide that's available on the knowledge base. We're seeing firms having difficulties claiming their business, is what we call it. When you enter the system, the very first thing that you have to do after you've logged in and engaged in, to establish a profile, you have to do what's called claim your business. We're going to be looking for your DUNS, your tax ID, and your MPIN that's provided from sam.gov. And you would enter those 3 items in order for it to connect to your sam.gov profile. Many firms are not providing the correct pieces of information. They may have the right DUNS, but the tax ID seems to be incorrect from what they're using in SAM, and they're also are not always using the right MPIN. So I want to make sure before you enter the system that you are using and identifying that those identifiers are correct and the same as your sam.gov. We also want to make sure in your sam.gov that the firm owner is listed in the government point of contacts. That is the area that we are using to populate our system as the business contact. And so that is the field that we will be grabbing from. So if it is a different name, reflected, if it's not the woman owner that's not reflected in the name on the on our your business's profile, it is because what is the information that is available on sam.gov. That's why there's a difference. The self-certification letters, we've seen a number of firms upload a letter saying that they were self-certified. That actually does not satisfy our new program criteria. We are only accepting 8A annual review letters or acceptance letters or third-party certificates from an approved list of third-party certifiers, or a letter from the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Center of Verification and Evaluation for our CVE firms. There aren't any other certifications that we accept at this time, but the ones that I have outlined. Lastly, one of the other items that I've noticed is that some firms are sitting in a draft status because they have not completed the final steps of the application. So you want to make sure that you have completed an attestation and e-signature part of the application before it's officially submitted to SBA. And once it is submitted, the status will change on your beta.certified dashboard. So just want to make sure that that is clear. I think we do have one question, and I'll be happy to take a look at that. It says, how long does it take once the application is in pending? Pending, it means that you've moved into the processing stage, and it can take up to 90 days for processing. If there is a contracting opportunity that you have been identified as the apparent awardee, then the contracting officer must contact SBA, and we can expedite the processing of your application within, and we would have to do that within 15 days. But it has to come from the contracting officer to SBA stating that your firm has been identified as the apparent successful offerer. All right.
We actually have a couple questions
okay.
in the QA feature. One of them is, where can we look at SBA list of needs for servicing or manufacturing?
SBA list of needs. So SBA doesn't maintain a list of needs for servicing and manufacturing. The servicing and manufacturing is really the general title of industries. And so that would vary from agency to agency. And most agencies will post their opportunities through their OSDBU or in what's called in a forecast, or you can look at historical buying practices to get an idea of where the federal government is buying and the types of services that they buy. Was there any other questions?
Yep, there's a couple more. Please clarify for me, am I certified third party, or do I need to upload my certification to beta.certified.sba.gov?
Right. So all firms that have used a third-party certifier that is a part of our approved list, we only have 4 entities that are approved third-party certifiers at this time. Yes, you have to upload your certificate into beta.certify. We are the only authority that can issue certification into dynamic small business search. So all certificates must be uploaded into beta.certify for us to update our system so that you are properly reflected as formally certified.
Great, thank you. And our last question for now says, we submitted our document / application on October 15th, and it is still showing as pending. Are we still able to pursue ESD OSB / Women-Owned Small Business set-aside contracts, or do we need to wait until a decision has been sent to us? And how will a contracting officer be able to verify that we are officially certified?
Sure. So if you are in a pending status, then you can begin to pursue our contracting opportunities for WSB or EDWSB. Contracting officers can validate not only once you're formally certified, but they can also now see that you are in a pending status by visiting Dynamic Small Business Search and putting in your firm's DUNS number. So that is being communicated to the acquisition community. It's just a large community, so it takes a little while for the information to disperse and everyone to be fully updated. That Dynamic Small Business Search is where they can go to validate WOSB formal certifications, as well as see if a firm has a pending application.
Great, thank you. That's all we have for now.
Awesome. I think I have one more in the chat that says, I have partnered with a certified disabled business. Is that acceptable? I'm not really sure what that means. And partnered, or if that's a teaming arrangement or joint venture, partner, or whether partner means you started a business with someone that's a service disabled vet. Just not sure there. So a joint venture with them, and again, it depends on what project you're pursuing as a joint venture. Are you looking for service disabled vet opportunities? And is the service disabled vet that you partner with, are they male or female? And then who is the majority owner of the joint venture? I think that broke that down. All right. Okay. So there's a couple of various more detailed factors that I would have to know in order to give you kind of guidance on that, and what is acceptable. Depends on the project. It depends on the NAICS code, depends on the set aside. It depends on a number of factors. Next question I see says, can you touch again on WSB, EDWSB? Is it greater advantage to have one or the other? So WSB, again, this goes back to the list of 444 NAICS codes. Some are designated for WSB, some are designated for EDWSB. EDWSB designation is a smaller subset, but if you are designated as an EDWSB, you can pursue those subsets of procurements, and you're designated as a WSB as well, of course. But it does not work the other way around. So a firm that is WSB cannot pursue EDWSB opportunities, and that is, EDWSB is a smaller list of NAICS codes, so you want to definitely visit the SBA.gov website to see the list of NAICS codes that are available. You've had some firms that decided, well, I don't really do business or render services in those NAICS codes, so that might not be best for me at this time. And I'll just pursue a WSB certificate instead. All right, any other questions in the Q&A, or anyone else would like to post a question in the chat?
We're good for the Q&A at this moment.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So also here on the Contact Us page, if you have just questions about the program, about which path that you want to pursue, you can always email us at wosb@sba.gov. We have analysts reviewing that inbox daily, except weekends, of course, but daily, and we will get any responses back to you, help get you answers to questions that you might have. We have a question now that says, are the women-owned small business opportunity open to only the 50 United States, or are U.S. territories qualified for these opportunities as well? Depends on the federal agency and the location of the agency. So the agency may have work that needs to be done in U.S. territories, and if that is the case, then they may use the set aside if the project falls under the program's NAICS codes, list of NAICS codes. We have another question of, if we submit it for both, will we only be certified in one? There is only one application workflow right now, so you would have to designate that you want to apply for WOSB. And if you're WOSB, you will also be deemed WOSB. But again, you want to validate, are the NAICS codes there for you and your business, and if the NAICS codes are present there, then WOSB may be where you want to fully pursue in order to make sure that you carry both designations. Okay. If you're experiencing any technical issues when you're submitting your application, there's also the link here on there. It's a form that you would submit into our system. It's always best to log in and then use the form. It just becomes much more useful so that we can tie your question to an actual application in progress. So log in and then use the help ticket is the best way to use that right now. All right. Any other questions? We have one more. It says, we need to upload a few missing docs. However, the site does not allow us to. We have been trying to reach out to the help desk for some reason, and we're not able to get in touch with phone or email. Yes, we do not have a phone for our help desk service. SBA is a small agency, very small. I don't think everyone understands the size of us. We're a little itty bitty agency compared to DOD. And so our resources are limited. So what I can suggest is if you can send an email to wosb@sba.gov, and then also include your help desk ticket numbers so that we can make sure we are referencing those and looking them up. But you can send that email to wosb@sba.gov, and we will look into what the problem is for your firm's application and get you a response back. Okay. We have one more question, is can you confirm the current processing time from clear processing to notification? Once you have received notice from SBA that you are moving into the processing stage, we have up to 90 days to process your application. Any other questions? It's pretty good questions. Good. This has been a good session. I have one more question. Are you able to connect WSB or ED-WSBs who are wanting to partner or team with other companies that are? I am not able to do partnering. I don't do matchmaking. So I would encourage you to use our dynamic small business search. It is, even though it's a little kind of dated in the way the user interface looks, it's a very powerful tool. It's a great way to identify some synergies, firms in similar, yet not necessarily the same lane as you, but complementary. And so you can use it to identify WSBs, you can find 8As, hub zones, firms that carry multiple designations, and you can search it by keywords, NAICS codes, various, and so dynamic small business search, dsbs.sba.gov. I'll type it here and put it in the chat for you guys if you want to visit that website as well. It's a great tool for looking up other potential partnerships, and the federal government uses it for marketing research purposes. Awesome. Great. It's good to hear that it was easy for someone. There's been some challenges, and we've been working really, really hard to improve it, make it better, make it easier. And I know that there's, always challenges with any new technical system that's rolled out. And I just want to thank you all for your patience and just working with us as we work to kind of get it better for you all and really improve upon the system and making it better. So we want to hear the feedback. We want to continue to make it better. And we really are looking to try our best to improve on what we have out there.
Alisa?
Yes.
We have two other questions out there.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, the first one is, where should contracting officers confirm a firm's women-owned small business status?
Yes, so the website I posted, dsbs.sba.gov, they may visit that website to verify if a firm has been formally certified or if they are in a pending application, meaning we are in the processing stage of their application.
Okay. The next one is, on a joint venture agreement, the SBA does not need to approve, from what I understand. Can
Correct.
I do many joint ventures with the same partner without falling into an affiliation concern?
Depends. It very much depends on how much a role the two partnerships are playing for each other, and how much of an impact is that to your revenue. There's a number of factors there that would be considered as to whether or not there's an affiliation issue. Probably a little more to the list, and it's very situational. So I don't have a direct answer for that, but yes, we do not review joint ventures prior to pursuing opportunities. If a joint venture is of concern, or if an issue is about a joint venture that is pursuing opportunity, that is what the protest mechanism is for, and that protest can be done by an interested party or a contracting officer, or SBA in certain instances. Any other questions?
We have two more.
Awesome.
I am on the beta certified SBA Gov site. I only need to add my certification, not apply for certification. Where do I upload the certification issued by a third party?
So you do have to submit a full application, but your application is abbreviated. So you do still have to create an account, establish a profile, and begin initiating the application. You have a beginning questions, which are called SBA basic eligibility questions that are required to be answered. And then you'll be prompted to what's called our existing qualified certification section, where you would upload your certificate. And so you are still initiating as you would, as any other applicant would, in starting the process. Okay.
Okay, the next one is, if women-owned small business status is pending SBA cert, Can the PCO make award without further eligibility checks?
No, the PCO cannot make award from a pending status. They have to be approved. And if they are determined to be the successful offer and they're pending, the contracting officer would need to submit to SBA a request for expedited processing. And our regulations allow 15 days for processing that application. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, yes, I have one.
Sure.
This question is, we are having problems with the system and have been apprised of a couple of updates to fix the problem. However, it is not yet fixed for our situation. Do you know of any further updates coming soon that may fix the NAICS and exceptions?
NAICS exceptions has been addressed. It is working now. I just worked with a firm on Tuesday that it was fixed on Tuesday. But what I would suggest, again, if you could shoot an email to WOSB with the associated ticket numbers, and then we can validate all of the issues that you're experiencing and also provide a full update. So you can send it to WOSB and just make sure to reference which ticket numbers that you have in our system. Any other questions out there?
No, it doesn't seem to be anymore. I think we are safe to wrap up at this time. Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you all for having me today. Again, if you all have additional questions, you can email WOSB@sba.gov, and we will work to get you all answers.